I'm so excited for this conversation today with author Holly Morphew, who has written a beautiful book called Simple Wealth, the practical guide to transform your money with your relationship with money and live in abundance. And I don't know too many people who don't want that, Holly. So Holly is the founder and CEO of Financial Impact and has written her book to serve people who are challenged by money or just want a better relationship with money. And so I'm so excited about this conversation, Holly, and welcome.
Oh, thank you, Catherine. It's so good to be here. I love talking about money, and just the journey of writing my book was so transformational for me. And so I can't wait to get into it.
Wonderful. Well, so let's start there with the journey to write this book. What inspired you? What was calling you to want to, write your book and share your story? Because a big amount of what you do in your business and what you share in the book is related to your own personal journey with money. So I would love to hear what finally, called you to commit to writing your book.
Yes. I mean, there are so many reasons that I wanted to write my book. And the first reason was I really wanted to help people, because I feel like money is just something that we don't talk about in society, in our culture. And then in addition to that, we don't teach it in school. And so what I found in my almost 20 years now of being a financial coach is that by the time people are ready to face it, they're in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. And it's like, I've been working so hard all my life and I'm successful, but what's my timeline for being able to stop working? And why are there so many unknowns when it comes to money? It's like, I think a lot of people feel like this is something that we should have mastered by the time we get to a certain age. And, in the absence of information, we just guess, and then guessing becomes a habit. And then after many years, I think we start to look at, okay, what is our future going to be like? And that's really why I wanted to write my book, is so that my friends and, the people in my life that I really care about could get that information early enough on that they started to feel empowered when it came to money, and confident and really good, because money can be fun, but a confused mind says no. And then when add, shame and overwhelm or confusion to that equation, and it can be really scary. So it's really just to show people that building personal wealth is simple, and it can be really fun, and it can be totally aligned with what your purpose and calling in life is.
I love that you named all of those, emotions and the fact that there's fun, but also shame. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about that, because I know your book is really full of practices, and your work is full of practices for your clients to really get in touch with their relationship and the feelings behind it. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. And I think that's what makes my book unique. And I found that calling in the writing cohort with you. What's my greater purpose for writing this book, other than, people will say, well, write a book for credibility, write a book because it, increases your opportunity to reach more people. And all of this is true. And from a business standpoint, I'm also a business coach. Of course, I see that. And I think my first few tries at writing my book, and I did write, as you know, 2 manuscripts before the Simple Wealth manuscript. And they were just so boring to me. It was all the strategy, but not the heart behind it. And I realized that that's the component that's missing from a lot of financial conversations anyway, is the heart behind it, the why. Why are we doing this? And kind of circling this back to that shame piece. Shame can be insidious, whether we're writing a book, we're starting a business, we're, trying to be a better friend or partner, or, whatever it is in our lives, that those feelings that hold us back, those limiting beliefs, that the stories that we've told ourselves that lead to the shame, because shame really is a result of stories that we've told ourselves that aren't necessarily true. And so when I started to plug in the personal practices into my own life, not just for wealth and abundance creation, but for living more in alignment with what I value, for just feeling really good about myself and where I was going on a daily basis, it was the personal practices that helped me feel more in flow and more alive and thriving and just good about my life in general. And if you read any master's work, from Eckhart Tolle to Deepak Chopra, even Oprah Winfrey, and, all the way back to Thich Nhat Hanh, and all of these, masters who we've learned from over the years, they all teach the same thing. find time in nature, find time to be still and, get out of the head, which is all the stories, and into the heart, which is where the truth is. Building community, how powerful it is. Like writing my book in your cohort, Catherine, in that container, that's so special, amazing container that you created, was really an opportunity for me to lean into that personal practice of community and know that imposter syndrome is something that everyone faces. We're all looking for a story to share that will really truly speak to people. And sometimes it's not just about the structure, but it is about the heart. And I think I was able to find my ability to let my heart lead the way, both in writing my book, building my wealth, and all the other things that comes into our lives through really spending time in the personal practices. So I think that's what makes my book about personal finance different. And also one of the reasons that the book has been so successful is because it's not just about the strategy for building wealth, which is really important, but it's also about the mindset and the personal practices that transform you into a wealthy person, so that wealth is just something that we're attracting into our life. It's something that we naturally default to.
I love that. It's so beautiful how you tie it to, the practice of abundance and gratitude, how they're so connected. And these are very practical tools that I think most people don't think of applying to their financial life, right? Like maybe they're on some other kind of personal development journey, but like money is a separate thing usually. So I love that you have brought just presence and practices into the relationship with money for your readers. And you published your book way back when in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious to know, like, what's happened for you since you've published this book, as far as your business and how you're able to reach more people with the tools and practices that you're sharing.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it has just been so wonderful to have a beautiful book with a beautiful cover that I am proud to say I wrote this and I want you to read it. I know it's going to change your life. That feeling is so awesome. And, when I meet people and tell them what I do, of course, there's this natural curiosity, but like, how do you really do that kind of question? And so to just have my book and just say, here, read it, like you can do it too, is amazing. And, my audio book just came out, which has been a really fun launch. And I've been getting lots of positive feedback on that. So that's been really nice to just have another vehicle to deliver the book to. Because what I found is that, a lot of people don't read for various reasons, whether it's attention or time or, it hurts their eyes or whatever it is. A lot of people do listen. And so that was always something that I really wanted to do. So, having that out there now feels really good. But just, I did a talk the other day for a group of local restaurateurs in Denver, their entire leadership team. And I brought a copy of my book. And of course, I always keep them in my car. And the person who brought me in to speak, he was like, I'm buying a book for every single person here. And I was like, yes, this is so great. How fun that I get to leave people with something really special.
I love that. I love it. So it's kind of a business card or a calling card. Here, read this, and then you'll understand what I do. And I know that you're out there, you're talking a lot more on your book, on the topic of your book, but on podcasts and in person at events and to leadership teams. And so I'm just really curious how that's expanded too, once you have, a book to offer to people.
I do think that it helps because, as far as being a podcast guest, a lot of podcast hosts are looking for, they want to read the book first. They really want to know, what is it that I have to teach their audience and share with their audience. So it's nice to have the book because that's instant, here's my story and this is what we're going to talk about. But, my business, since I wrote the book, it's always been fairly steady. I've sort of designed my business to be that way because I like to work, a certain number of hours a week. And then I have other streams of income, which I'm tending to. But the book has really helped me even streamline even more kind of my systems. And generally by the time someone comes to me and they've completed a coaching application because of my book and because of, the podcast, and I do speak, probably once or twice a week for, companies all over, the country, sometimes other countries, but it has led to a lot of opportunities. And I think also this past summer, Bankrate put my book, Simple Wealth, on their top 10 personal finance books of 2022, just completely organically.
Congratulations. I did not know that. That is
Yeah.
amazing, Holly.
Yeah.
That's so wonderful. Well, it just means too that more people can find out about you and your services and your book. And I'm curious if there's so many great practices in this book, but is there one that rises up that you would like to share with listeners today that they can apply in their life that's easy, something right now, just to shift the relationship they might have with money?
Yeah. Yes, definitely. You know, of all of the ones that are coming to mind right now, the one that pops out the most is just the practice of giving. And you know, you can give, it doesn't mean that we're giving money to, you know, different organizations. We can give our time, we can give our energy, we can give a smile, we can give a hand somewhere. There are a lot of ways to give, and this is one of those personal practices. It's like a law of abundance, if you will. The opposite of giving is receiving. So if you're in a position where you want to receive more, and I've definitely been there, I'm still there because I'm always seeking for more, and I love to create and grow and expand. The place to begin, if you want to receive more in your life, whether it's more love, more money, more health, is to give those things, and then they come back to you.
Beautiful. Very, very simple. Makes
Mhm.
great sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so where can people find you, Holly? Where can they go online to find more about your book, to find more about your business, website, et cetera?
Yeah. Yeah. And I also want to share a resource for your audience. It's just a free resource that I created just in the past few months. And it kind of goes along with the book. And it's a great way to get started building personal wealth. So you can find me at financialimpact.com. And I'm also on Instagram and all the socials at Holly Morph is my handle, HOLLYMORPH. But that free resource is just financialimpact.com/date. And it's a guide to how to have a money date with yourself and how to build the pillars of wealth and what to actually be doing every month when you sit down and look at your money. So that's a great way to just get started if you're ready to start building personal wealth.
I love that. Thank you so much for your giving generosity. And I think that is such a good tool to build, you know, to be able to meet with yourself or with your partner, perhaps on a money date.
Exactly.
Make it fun, right?
Exactly. Everything should be fun. Fun is one of my core values. So if I'm not having fun, I'm like, why am I doing this?
Exactly. Yeah. And I do want to point out that in the book, you really help people understand what their values are and like help them really get clear about aligning their money and building wealth around their core values. And that's such an important factor. So
yeah, exactly. Because what's on the other side of wealth? Like, why do we want that? And I think once we can really get clear on what it is that we value and the kind of life that we're wanting to create for ourselves, then the money just falls in line.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Holly.
My pleasure.